It happens slowly. You sit across from someone you've loved for decades, someone who once made your heart race, someone you built a life with, and suddenly, everything they say starts to bother you. The way they breathe, the way they chew, the way they talk about the same stories over and over. And you wonder, what happened to us? This is the quiet truth that nobody wants to talk about. After 70, many couples start to resent each other. Not because they don't love each other anymore, but because life, time, and routine have taken a toll. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you were roommates instead of soulmates? You go through the motions: meals, medications, television shows, silence, maybe a few snappy comments here and there, maybe a deep sigh when your spouse forgets something you already told them twice. It's not anger, not really. It's accumulated disappointment, unspoken needs, emotional distance that built up while no one was looking. And the reason this happens more often after 70 is simple: there's more stillness. You're retired, the house is quieter, the distractions are fewer, and suddenly, all the little things you used to ignore, they're front and center, every day. I remember speaking to a man named Walter, 74. He'd been married for 51 years, and he told me something I'll never forget. He said, "I still love my wife, but lately I feel like I just want space. I miss being alone more than I miss being with her." That admission broke him, and it broke me too, because Walter isn't alone. What most people don't realize is that aging magnifies what's already there. If your marriage was filled with quiet tension, it grows louder. If you didn't learn to communicate early, silence becomes the norm. And if one person starts declining physically or mentally, the other often becomes a caregiver, not a partner. The balance shifts, the resentment grows, but it doesn't have to. There's one powerful thing every couple can do, even after 70, to reconnect, and that's naming the silence. Not yelling, not blaming, just saying, "I feel distant from you lately," or "Sometimes I get frustrated, and I don't know why." These words are simple, but they crack the wall. If this is resonating with you right now, subscribe to this channel. We speak to real seniors with real stories, because your heart, your relationship, and your peace matter more now than ever. And let me be clear, this isn't about starting over, it's about starting again. From right here, right now. Because when we don't talk about resentment, it grows, quietly, day by day, until one day, you look at the person across the table and don't recognize what you've become. Like this video, if you believe love doesn't stop after 70, it just changes shape. And sometimes, we need to reshape it with intention. Because now that we've uncovered the silent tension, it's time to gently dig into the emotional roots where the unspoken expectations live, and how unmet needs become quiet anger in the people we once felt closest to. When you've been with someone for decades, there's something most people stop doing without even realizing it. They stop asking each other real questions. You assume you already know them. You think, "What more could I possibly learn after 40 or 50 years?" But that assumption is the beginning of emotional distance. Because the truth is, the person sitting across from you today is not the same person you married, and neither are you. You've both changed. You've survived grief. You've battled illnesses. You've slowed down. You've let go of dreams. And yet, no one thinks to ask, "How are you really doing now?" That silence becomes a quiet poison. Because underneath it is a pile of unmet small requests, emotional longings, quiet disappointments that never got spoken. I once sat with a woman named Teresa. She was 76. Her husband, Frank, had been her partner since she was 20. And yet, with tears in her eyes, she told me, "I don't think he's touched me in over a year. I'm still alive. I'm still a woman, but he acts like I disappeared." Frank wasn't cruel. He wasn't cold. He just didn't know. And she didn't tell him because after 50 years, she didn't know how to start that conversation without sounding needy or foolish. That's what resentment looks like in older couples. It doesn't come in shouting matches, it comes in silence, in unmet needs, in assumptions, in sleeping back to back every night with words you wish you could say stuck in your throat. But here's the hope: it's never too late to relearn each other. You can fall back in love with the person you thought you already knew. It starts with one honest sentence. I miss talking to you like we used to. I feel alone sometimes, even when we're sitting right next to each other. Can we start checking in with each other again? These moments feel small, but they shift everything. They melt resentment. They bring softness back. If this is striking something inside you, subscribe to this channel. You're not too old for growth. You're not too old for connection. You're not too old to feel seen and heard again. And if you're the one feeling resentful, here's a truth no one tells you. Resentment isn't about the other person. It's about your own needs, not being maintained, not being voiced. It's about the chores that fall on you every day. It's about the health changes you didn't ask for. It's about the grief of who you both used to be, and the fear that maybe the best is behind you. But the best doesn't have to be over. Because the deepest intimacy often comes in later years, when life slows down just enough to see each other clearly. Like this video if you believe in second chance 7 and love. Share it with a friend who might be silently struggling in their marriage but doesn't know how to talk about it. Because next, we're going to peel back the last layer. How to rebuild not just romance, but trust and tenderness 7, if it feels like that part of your relationship has faded away. Let's talk about something most couples over 70 quietly stop doing. Touching each other, gently, intentionally, without a reason. Not for chores, not to hand them their pills, not to help them up from the couch, but for comfort, for closeness, for connection. When physical intimacy fades, so does emotional intimacy. And the further that distance grows, the harder it becomes to reach for each other again. It starts with fewer hugs, then the kisses stop. Then sleeping in the same bed feels like a habit instead of a haven. But here's the beautiful truth. You can bring it back. Because love doesn't die with age. It only quiets down, waiting for you to tap it on the shoulder again. Sometimes all it takes is a hand resting on theirs during dinner. A soft, "Good morning, love," whispered before breakfast. A smile that says, "I still see you." I knew a couple named Janice and Harold, married 57 years. After Harold had a mild stroke, Janice became his full-time caregiver. Their marriage shifted. She bathed him, dressed him, managed his meds, and one day she told me, "I miss being his wife. I became his nurse. I want to be touched again, not just needed." So I asked her, "Have you told him that?" She hadn't. So she did. And what happened next was small, but powerful. That night, Harold reached out, just held her hand for a while, and Janice cried. Not because she was sad, but because she felt like a wife again, not just a helper. That's the healing power of tenderness. It doesn't erase the years, but it softens the edges. It turns the routine back into relationship. So if you're watching this and thinking, "It's too late for us," no, it isn't. You don't have to go back to candlelit dinners or dancing in the kitchen. Start with warmth, with honesty, with choosing to see each other not as burdens but as blessings you still get to wake up beside. If this has opened your eyes or heart even just a little, subscribe right now, because these are the conversations that bring couples back together even after years of silence. Like this video if you believe love after 70 is still worth fighting for. And here's my final message. Resentment grows in silence, but so does renewal. You can choose today to say one kind thing, to forgive one moment, to ask one question you stopped asking a long time ago. You can rebuild safety. You can reignite closeness. You can be the first one to reach across the bed tonight. You're not too old to start again. You're just wise enough now to do it right. So hold their hand, look them in the eyes, and say the words that matter before time takes the chance away. Because you're not done loving, and they're not done needing to feel loved. Share this video with someone over 60. You might save a marriage. You might save a heart. You might even save your own. Here's to growing old without growing apart.